Hey everyone, this is Jolin from Jumblhoj. I'm trying something new out. If all goes well and you guys want more, maybe this will turn into a little mini series. This interview is with our good friend Daniel Olivares. He's the owner, manager, creator of El Cielito Cafe, where we do our cafe talk podcasts as well as just hang out. He started his business 3 years ago, and I just wanted to ask him about the process of starting a business, the ins and outs of it, and hopefully this will help any of you who have that ambition to start your own small business, and maybe you'll learn something today. So yeah, enjoy. Let me know what you guys think.
My name is Daniel Olivares. I'm 23 years old. I come from a family of 7, born and raised in Echo Park, California. I am the founder, owner, CEO of El Cielito Cafe and El Cielito Coffee Company here in Southgate, California. So I grew up in Echo Park, California. This day and age, around this time, people like make Echo Park synonymous with hipsters and wealthy people and hipsters. But when I was growing up there, I'd say like early 2000s, late 2000s, it was extremely, like, it was just bad. There was drive-bys, there was gangsters everywhere. You couldn't be at the park past sunrise. The Dodger Stadium was like only a place for like out-of-towners because we knew that Dodger Stadium was the area was bad around there. I grew up in Echo Park, more specifically the historic Filipino town section of Echo Park. And it was pretty cool growing up. My dad got me into boxing at an early age when I was like 8, so I boxed my whole life away. I boxed when I was like 5th grade, I boxed when I was in middle school, I boxed when I was in high school, so I was like the skinniest kid in school. I didn't really have much time for hobbies because boxing in school took up most of my time. I wasn't really a big fan of school, but it's kind of like the law where you have to go to school, so so I would go. I'd say boxing was pretty fun though. It taught me a lot of things, and it was definitely a fundamental hobby of mine that made me who I am today, physically and mentally. Physically as in I have some scars and some stuff, but mentally as in I still have like those hobbies of that mind state of like I have to do it no matter what. No matter what pain I'm going through, I have to push through. So I definitely had that mentality. I dropped out of college at say going into the second year. That's when it's not the law to go to school, so I got out of there as soon as I could. Yeah, but I'd say my childhood was pretty good. My mom and my dad didn't really let me hang out into the streets, obviously because of boxing again, so I stayed out of a lot of trouble, which is probably something I should be thankful for now. Yeah, that's a good question. It was bound to happen. Entrepreneurship is in my blood. My whole dad side of my family are entrepreneurs. They have mechanic shops, car washes, massage parlors, and then funny enough, my mom's side, they're all college graduates. All my sisters are college graduates, so it's this cool little mix. I obviously chose what got more of my dad's side because I was more into entrepreneurship. When it comes to owning a business, I never really like had that thought in depth, but I did know that I really, really liked making money. Like that was always cool. In high school, I used to sell dogs. I used to pick up dogs on Craigslist and then sell them to my friends for a higher price. I wanted to be a rapper in high school, so I used to go out in Sunset Boulevard and I used to go sell my mixtape. So some people probably have it out there, but I knew that I liked the whole selling and talking to people, and obviously the rejection part wasn't very fun, but I later in life I'd know that I'd face that further down. Yeah, but when it comes to business, it kind of just something that like spilled into itself. And it was kind of like I saw the changes in my community when it came to coffee, and that's what brought that whole change in Echo Park. So I was like, oh, okay, businesses make an impact, and it was coffee that did it. And I, got into the coffee and then got into the business aspect of it, and that's kind of like what spilled into here. So it's, again, it kind of spills into from what I talked about last time about like, you know, Echo Park. I got into coffee, and I noticed that the coffee industry was changing, because I had just known Starbucks at the time, and obviously like everyone else knows Starbucks. Then when my neighborhood changed, so did like the coffee scene, and I started going over there. It was Blue Bottle, I think, first that started in Echo Park. I checked it out, and I would go and they'd tell me like, you know, what was it? Oh, when I ordered a coffee, they'd be like, okay, what kind of coffee do you want? And you know, Starbucks goers are like, oh, I want a caramel macchiato, latte, caramel drizzle, soy, upside the head, whatever they're talking about. So I looked at their menu, and their menu was just like latte, drip, and it was very basic and very simple, which is different in comparison to Starbucks that has like 20 items on the menu. I would ask them like, oh, what kind of coffee do you mean? Because there's not many coffee options to begin with. And then that's when they started saying like, oh, we have our coffee from El Salvador, we have our coffee from Ethiopia. And that's when I noticed like, oh, there's more to this than just like, you know, caramel macchiato, drizzle, foam, whatever. So I started really getting into it because I like science and I like business, and it seems like that Blue Bottle there was incorporating that all together. So I started looking at these places had, like that kind of different coffees, and I was like, okay, like why is that? And I started seeing that they would have like this science behind like the growing it, and different flavors came about, and this was all like a whole new world to me. So I stumbled upon a coffee academy, and I figured like, hey, I might as well apply because I really like to learn, and I was like 85% done with my decision of dropping out of college. So I was like, I gotta find something else to fill my void. So I signed up for that one, and then I heard about the coffee shop, obviously like Tierra Mia, and I applied for that around the same time because I wanted to learn about coffee, and what better way than a welcoming way than coffee that serves Latino coffee. So I applied for there, and I got accepted into the job, and then I got accepted into the coffee academy. So I skipped my job training because I went to the academy, and then I came back and I knew like extreme amount of coffee because of the academy, and then even more so the business aspect because I was seeing the place that I was working for from the inside out, and I was like, okay, I really want to do this. I thought up of my ideas, what I wanted to bring to the table, what I wanted to take from here, what I wanted to take from there, what I wanted to incorporate, what I wanted to bring what I wanted to apply my creativity to, and it all came together. It was just like coffee shops is just like this canvas where you can do a lot, and you have a lot of different paint options that you can work with. So I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. Like I can change a community. I can sell something and explain it like a professor would explain things, and I can make money. It was super crazy. It's something that I didn't expect. Obviously, when you're learning, the only thing you have to pay is like I had to pay the academy like a student has to pay tuition. When you're working, all you have to do is just focus on getting your hours done, like working well, making sure you're a team player, like making sure you're good at what you're doing, and trying to learn if you want to learn. Then when it comes to like actually wanting to start the business, it's a whole nother thing. Like you have to incorporate all that, and then you have to incorporate other things like you have to get these permits done. Everything falls on your shoulders. There's no one you can really go to or be like, how you can ask, but there's like different things that affect people individually, or different people trying to start things. And there was sometimes things where I couldn't run to them, just like, oh dang, like I gotta fight this one out. There weren't any answers in the book, and I had to go through barriers in which it was just like I had to get permits from this city, I had to get permits from this city hall, I had to get permits from for this utility, and I have to find a contractor, I have to find an architect, and you have to find all these things. You have to pay all these guys. There's obviously going to be mistakes, so you have to get the mistakes fixed. It took me, I believe, about like 6-7 months to get the shop open. So it's definitely there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of financial obstacles you're gonna face. There's a lot of just like hair pulling, like frustrating kind of things that you're gonna face. I faced them all, and that was just like the beginning. I was like, finally, I got the construction done. I got the permits done. I can open up and start doing what I've been wanting to do. And it didn't work out that way. It was just I had my doors open, no one came in. I had my doors open for like 2 months. Someone came in, and then they're just like, "Oh, this is cool," and then they left. And you still have to pay bills, and it's not like you can work a job because you have to dedicate your full time here. So it was definitely difficult. I cried a lot. There was like a couple of days where I didn't eat. There was a couple of days where I was just like, F this. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I should have stayed in college. There was times where it was just like hopeless, but it pays off. It's just a lot of obstacles you gotta jump in the beginning. That's actually a pretty great question. I've never been asked that question. It's a good one. So I would say, as cliche as it sounds, don't give up. There's, like I said, there's times where you're facing obstacles where you're like, I made a mistake. I don't know what I'm doing. There's all this money going out and there's barely any money coming in. I can't afford, these $1.29 10-piece chicken nuggets because the bill's coming up. There's all these things that can go wrong, but all it takes is a little bit of goodness and you completely forget about it. I remember my first event and it was like really popping, and then I just completely forgot that I didn't have anyone here at one point. Like I was stuck on my computer all day doing nothing. But I would say just keep doing what you're doing, keep striving, and there's just times where you're gonna get that someone's gonna take a chance on you, and obviously no one's gonna take a chance on you if you don't take a chance on yourself, and you need to just keep driving that nail in. There's gonna be days where you have obstacles, but then like a week down the line, there's gonna be a time where like with podcasts, someone big might hear your podcast and be like, oh, I want to invest in these guys. And it doesn't matter your background. There's been people that started literally from nothing and they got big. People that were on welfare, they got big. People, middle class families that got big. It doesn't even matter if you have a rich dad. If you want to make your own legacy, then do it. And there's plenty of help out there. There's me, for example. People have come up to me and that want to start coffee shops, and they've asked me, and I've laid out all the mistakes I made. There's people that have done it before you, and feel free to ask. I've never had anyone that said no, I can't help you. It's information is very, very valuable, and use that. Email someone. Call someone. Research it on Google. Like, we have the world in our hands. And the motivation and the fuel to my fire that I always like to think of is my dad came from a house that had half a roof and no floor and no doors, and he got to a point where now he owns his own house, and he was able to feed my 5 brothers and sisters, and he has his own mechanic shop. And it's super crazy because just that aspect alone is enough to motivate someone. But then thinking of that he came to this country, like a foreign country, didn't know the language, he was able to establish that despite his background and despite those handicaps. And with Latinos and Latinas, we already have that motivation where our parents came to another foreign country, they didn't even know the language, and they were still able to find their way, and they were still able to feed us, and we're here now. But that's a huge advantage that we have those idols, like our parents, that are very close to us, that show us like, hey, anything is possible. You can go to another country and just create something. You don't even know the language, and use that as motivation every day, and it'll take you pretty far. that's another obstacle that entrepreneurs face. So after a while, you're kind of like, all right, I did this. Like, what's the point now? Or what can I do to better it? Because you do get bored, and me, like I get really bored really fast. So the motivation that I find is just like trying to do and reach goals where I thought that wasn't possible before I started this. And now that I have more of the resources, I'm able to reach it, and it brings me that excitement to set these goals, or kind of like throw a huge event where I'm like, okay, I'm obviously getting a little bored with this part. Maybe I should jump into something new that's event planning. Another big thing right now is the clothing. Like, I have absolutely no experience with clothing. If you look at the way I dress on a daily basis, you can tell I have no fashion sense. But I wanted to like jump into something unknown. Like the coffee shop, it's established, you know, it makes its own money, it feeds itself. And sometimes I do get bored, or I'm just like, okay, sometimes I'm not needed, sometimes I'm, you know. But jumping into like a new venture that's related to your what you started, it'll help keep that fire going, definitely. Well, definitely. I'm looking into getting a new location in Downey. My main plan is to bring it back home to Echo Park. But again, right now with the transformation that is going through, it's not something that's in the near future because the prices are ridiculous. But yeah, I definitely want to open up other locations in Downey. I want to work with other coffee shops, like supplying them, like other big names. I want to also work with like different bakeries. I want to have my own bakery. Yeah, and things of those sorts. Like, it's just expansion at this point. Not as much as it was before. Definitely there was a lot of, maybe not regret, but doubt. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. And then especially with my sisters, my older sister graduated college, and I was like, okay, like, well, she's on her way, and I have my own path. And then my second sister, my youngest sister, graduated college, and I was like, okay, well, they're on their path. And then I see the celebrations and the way they get treated, like, oh, they're college graduates, because obviously college graduates are another big thing in Latino families. So I'm just like, all right, that's cool. Like, maybe I should have been a college graduate first, and then this. There's definitely that. There's sometimes regrets, and like, again, even with it almost being in 3 years, there's times where it's like, okay, I didn't make enough money like this month, or there was like a drop in sales. I'm like, damn, the regret and the doubt comes back. And it's definitely there sometimes keeps you up, but it smoothens itself out. Like, it just fades away. It comes and goes. What I want to say to like the people watching this, and hopefully they're like-minded individuals like myself, like Victor, like Joel, and just the main thing is have fun. And I know it gets complicated with bills, and it gets complicated with family problems, and it gets complicated with relationship problems. And I've been through all of that. I've, you know, still to this day, where it's just like, I'm a coffee shop owner, but at the same time I do like to have fun. Sometimes they mess with each other, bump heads, and I have too much fun and get myself in a hole. But just that, just have fun. There's gonna be lots of problems. Obviously, you can't avoid them. There's gonna be lots of, like, you know, breakups, you know, friend problems, whatever. But find where you fit in and just have fun, and the rest will sort itself out. When you're having fun at work, it doesn't really feel like work, and you'll end up with a paycheck. And when you're in a relationship and you're having fun and everything's cool, it's great stress relief. It gives you something to look forward to. When you own a business and you're having fun, it definitely keeps that doubt back. It keeps that, regret back. It keeps that, like dull feeling of like, oh, I have to go again. Having fun is like the key to everything. And you'll notice you're happier. You'll notice that even your bosses are happier with you. You'll notice that, your girlfriend's happier, your parents are happier, and life just gets better. When it comes to if you're an entrepreneur, you are gonna have to like bite the bullet, and you are gonna have to suffer, and you are gonna have to sacrifice a lot. But if you get through that, you definitely become a better person. You learn more of these things, and you're better off. You have these accomplishments to show for it, and especially if you're Latino or Latina, it's way more amplified because we have the odds against us. And I would just say, just keep up your good work, keep grinding, stay in school. And if you want coffee, some really good coffee, come by Cielito Cafe. If you want entrepreneur advice, obviously I don't have that much experience behind my belt, but I love just talking to people, and I love helping, and I'll do what I can to spread advice. Or you can DM El Cielito on Instagram at elcielitocafe.com, and you can check out our website. And stay classy, San Diego.